guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be an extension from our mass making workshops. The mass making workshops are still continuing. That's all good. But I know that I'd had lots of people making comments, particularly in the beginning, not so much at the moment, or not so much recently, but asking, you know, sort of saying, oh, that's great, but now I've got all these pieces, what would I do with them? How would I use them in a journal? So I thought that we would do, I don't know whether this is going to turn out to be a series. I don't know whether it's just going to be 1 or 2 videos. It just depends how fast we manage to crack on, really. But I thought that I would come along and we would start decorating a journal up using some of our mass making pieces that we've obviously done over the workshops. So what I have done is, obviously I've got here a blank journal. This is all plain coffee dyed pages. There are no colours in here whatsoever. Oops, just got that in there by mistake. It's just completely plain, so I can go in any direction I like colour wise and things. It's just a soft envelope cover, which obviously, you know, has yet to be decorated and covered or anything else. Now, I do struggle with the whole matchy thing, which is where, for me, the mass making sort of, you know, evolved from, really, because I don't overly like making the same thing more than once, and I'm not particularly great at mixing up different colours, different items, things like that. You know, for me, I tend to use the same paper pack for a journal, or the same digi-kit for a journal, or something like that. So for me, that was kind of where the idea of the mass making evolved, really. So what I felt was a nice starting place for me, and I'm not saying that this will work for everybody, but for me, I thought the nice starting place would be to decide what kind of theme or what kind of journal I want to make. So if I just pull in, oops, God, hold on a second. Obviously, I have used this book before. It's the My Who's Who of Pets and Animal Friends, that beautiful little book, which I know that, you know, some of you have managed to find online and got a copy. And I talked about this book before, so I won't bore you going over it again, but it's just the most wonderful pictures, and they're just perfect sizes for using in your journal. So I thought I'm going to make my journal themed around using images from that book. And that then gives me a starting place for what kind of style, I suppose, that my journal is going to take. And that would then help me use the pieces from the mass making, but hopefully mixing up the colours through the journal. Because I'm now not restricted colour-wise, because actually my colours will tend to, you know, tone in or match the little image that I'm going to end up using, is the theory. So we will see. It maybe won't go quite as I've got in my mind. I'm not sure, but that's the plan. So obviously I have already used a couple of my mass making items, but I've used just odds and ends. So just, you know, if I was making something, I might just think, oh, I'll just pull in one of those. I haven't actually made an entire journal using predominantly only those mass makes. So this will be, you know, really interesting for me too. So if I pull in my box, which obviously I have shown this before, of how I'm storing my mass makes. Let me just check that I'm in frame. Obviously I'm struggling to fit this in. The camera's zoomed out as much as it will go, so I can't, I'm afraid, fit it in any better than this. But it's just one of those photo boxes, and then I just made a bunch of these little divider cards, and I've just put them in between the you know, the embellishment type that we have made, and I have tried to store them. Again, you're not going to be able to see this on camera, but height wise, so my very tiny ones right at the front are obviously those little banner paper clips, and then it's working its way up in height. So from the front of this box, it's just out on the cupboard behind me, I can just see at a glance, you know, the embellishment type, really. So obviously, you know, I have used a whole bunch of different papers and things like that, because the whole point of the mass making was to use up papers that, you know, we had remnants or leftovers of. So, you know, as I said before, I would ordinarily struggle to then use them in a journal. But I'm hoping that by tying them in with these gorgeous animal images, that's going to enable me to do that. So let's just, you know, get stuck in really. I hope that all makes sense and, you know, all my waffling has come clear really. So the first one that is just literally, you know, standing out to me is this yellow one, which weirdly when I made this, I thought this was going to be the one that I was going to really struggle to use. But it obviously was, you know, just, you know, zinging out to me. Because out the corner of my eye, I could just see this canary image. Now, I just need to check because, luckily it's the caterpillar, which, you know, I know lots of people like caterpillars, but I don't like that image anywhere near as I like this one. So out the corner of my eye, I could just see the canary, and I just thought, oh, that yellow just ties in perfectly with this. So this was one of those little booklets that we made. So it's a little folding one, and you've got the coin envelope style pockets at the top there, and we just put a little book page pocket here on the front cover. So obviously, you know, the way that I have done my mass makes, and I don't know whether everybody has done this, but I have left mine predominantly plain for decorating as and when I use them, you know, so that's going to hopefully be just perfect for using with this canary. So all I'm going to do is obviously take my canary piece. I'm going to tear it because, you know, tearing just works really well for me, as opposed to cutting. And then I'm going to just pop those to one side. Now, this one here, I might need to actually trim down slightly because obviously didn't make it very well on the day. So I'm just going to trim it down slightly there and slightly there. Hopefully I haven't cut open that pocket, but if I have, I can always just glue it back in. No, it's all good. My canary image now, I'm going to just tear it down slightly further. Don't really want to get rid of his little perch that he's sat on, so I'll try and leave that showing a little bit. Oops. But we just kind of, you know, chop him down a little bit. Now I'd like to layer him on something, so again I'm just going to have a look around my desk and see what I've got floating about that might just tie in with him. I've got this little yellow paper, which actually that might look quite good, or I've got some brown paper bag left from some of the paper bag pieces that we've done, which he looks good on there. I don't know how much I like the paper bag against the scrapbook paper, so let's tear that down a little bit further and see what we think there. And obviously I'm going to ink all this up, so it's, you know, then going to tie in much better anyway. So there we go. I'm just going to get rid of this ziggity zaggedy kind of top, because that's obviously, you know, it looks a bit pre-made, if that's kind of the right terminology for that. So I mean, he's quite nice on there, isn't he? Or do you think it was nicer on the yellow? Again, this is where I sort of wish that I was live, because then I could just ask everyone's opinions. But right, let's just tie that down. Tear that round like that. Oh, I think I do prefer him on the yellow, I've got to be honest. Right, let's get rid of these. In fact, I'll just keep those couple of bigger pieces just in case we want to do anything. Oh my gosh. Just things stuck everywhere on my desk. So what I'll do, I'm going to trim him down, or not trim him down, but tear him down a little bit more at the side. And then I can obviously make the, you know, this paper piece a bit smaller too, which just would be better. There we go. Oh, that's better. So I'm just going to glue him on there like that. Oops. glue him down. And then I'm just going to glue him onto the book itself. Well, I mean, it's not really a book, but you know, the fold out piece. So just glue that on there like that. Actually, I have just thought, I think I've really stuck him on the wrong side. So I think he should be on this side really, because I should have the really bulky bit kind of glued down to the page. So I've just turned that over. It's fine, because this will be glued down onto the page, so it doesn't, you know, it doesn't really matter. Luckily, it doesn't really matter. So there we go. We've stuck him down like that now. So if I just pull in the ink, hold on. Oh, where is my ink pad? Here we go. So once I've obviously distressed all around that, it's going to obviously just tie that in a little bit better. Oops. Like that. I mean, this method of, you know, going with a theme, that's just, you know, something that for me, I felt I needed to do to be able to use a ton of different papers and pieces, you know, and you may not feel the need to do that. I mean, for me, that just made a cohesive journal that then really flowed nicely from one page to the next, because the continuing theme that's bringing it all together and tying it all in will still be those animals, you know, the animal images. But of course, you know, it's all personal choice, isn't it? And you know, you might not feel that's necessary at all. So of course, you know, do this as per, you know, how you want to do it really. So I've just, again, I just spotted that word just laying around on my desk. So I could have that on there. I might just cut that down a bit. Cut off the barcode. These are some old stamps that I've had for a really long time. I mean, it went through a phase where those barcode stamps were really all the rage. I still quite like them personally, but you can as well, obviously, like we've done here, cut them off, and then, you know, they're much smaller and taking up much less space. Now, I've got this white lace that we could use there, which is quite nice, isn't it? So I'm just going to glue that to that and just move that over a bit. So I'll just take my fabric glue. Oops, come on. Oh, come on, come out. Is it with me and glue? Okay, hopefully now I've unclogged that little blob at the end. I mean, it was minuscule little blob that came off, but obviously enough to prevent it from wanting to come out. So there we go. Right, so we can obviously have that, you know, pop there. Now I did also just noticed that I've got this green ribbon here from something else that I've been doing. And again, because I'm filming these videos ahead, I don't know whether, you know, the videos... Oh, I've just realised that that was really causing a shadow. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know, obviously, whether my videos, whether they've gone up or not, if that makes sense. So anyway, I've just spotted that. So put that in. Got a little flower here, so that's quite cute. Might have that. Now the good thing is with all these very sweet little animal images, I find them quite fun to be able to use sort of brightly, you know, fun buttons. So hopefully this is going to be a bit of an opportunity for me to... Sorry, I'm just rummaging through my box looking for some bright buttons, but hopefully this will be a bit of an opportunity for me to use some of my sort of brighter buttons, which now I'm struggling to find any at all. So I might have to come back to that idea when I can actually... What's happened? I'm starting to actually tidy up. I know, amazing, miracle, just... Ugh. Well, I say miracle, actually just mistake really, because, you know, as always seems to happen, now I'm trying to tidy up a little bit. I'm not losing things because I know exactly where those buttons are. I obviously reached here because that's where they always were, on that point on my desk. But I've now moved them and they're now right over the other side on my shelf unit. So maybe I will have to rethink how I've done that, because maybe that's going to just be a bit annoying. Right, now I'm just having a look to see whether that ribbon would be nice on there. Forming a little bow, and then we could have maybe a little bit of bling. I don't, you know, I don't want that bow obviously in the middle. I would have it to the side, or maybe to that side. Well, let's just go for that, shall we? Because if I don't use it here, I can always use it somewhere else. So I'm just going to make that little bow. I'll just glue that ribbon there. Oops, like that. Just pop a tiny bit of glue here as well. Okay. And then just glue the other side. Yes, I mean, all these things take a long time to get round to doing. So obviously I'd had this on my list of, you know, requested videos for quite a while. And I have to be truthful, I was struggling how I was going to do it, because obviously using lots of the mass making items in one journal, I thought, well, how am I going to kind of showcase that? So it was only really when I was kind of really sat thinking about it, and I thought, actually, I think the best way for me is definitely, you know, find a theme and go from there. So, you know, hence the cute pets book. So, okay. So I'm just going to pop that bling across the middle of there. And if I don't end up using this bow on here, that's fine, because I will use it somewhere, I'm sure. Oops. There we go. Okay. Oops, let me just pull in my dried out wet wipe from beside me. Here we go. Just to sort of dab that off with. Now I'm just going to cut those little thread type bits off of the bling. Just there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull the journal back in, and then we can decide. Right, because I now have noticed that obviously that's creating a shadow, I will obviously press that down and have it held down. So we can have that there. Now I kept these little, I mean literally scraps, because I just wondered whether we wanted to pop something behind to just tie that in, and maybe in here or something. It just adds to the continuity really of the pieces that we're making, to, you know, yeah, just pull it together and give it a bit of a sort of cohesive look, I think. So I'm just going to tear that round so that it's a nicer shape. So we could have it there. And then, oops. There we go. And then I'll just see how this would look here. That's cute, isn't it? Yeah, I quite like that. And then obviously we could have like some ruffle or something like that somewhere. I mean, this isn't obviously an ideal colour. This was just some ruffle that just happened to be laying about on my desk. So I'm not saying it's it's ideal, but let's just have a look. Hold on. I mean, sometimes it's nice to use things that aren't too samey, I guess. So let's just go for this, because otherwise I feel like I could be here all day just, you know, deciding shall I or shan't I. So I'm just going to ink this up. You know, again, just so as it looks more matching the here. Now I do wonder whether we want some string or anything to keep this closed. What do you guys think? I mean, we could just use a paper clip, which might be fine. So perhaps we'll do that, and we'll have some string further on somewhere in the journal, because I do like my string. So I'll just pop this down here. You know, and I really haven't thought about where that was going or anything. I've just, you know, bunged it on there really. And then I'm just going to have that there. Now, let me just have a look under my desk, because I'm sure, yep, I'd spotted some doily there that I just slid off earlier. So, just see the time. Okay. I just wondered whether we might want a little bit of doily as well, poking out somewhere. Either here or on here, actually. Might be nice. So I'm just going to see whether we might have some kind of poking out there behind that. I'll just peel that paper up a bit. Why I didn't think of that doily before is beyond me, but never mind. So we could just have that kind of there, I think. Looks quite nice, doesn't it? Maybe like that. Okay. So again, I'm just going to use my 3-in-1, because I know that I have mentioned this recently, but my you know, my tacky glue, it seems to be marking the coffee dyed doilies in this black sort of blobby way. I don't know why it's doing that, but you know, it doesn't look very nice. So I'm just going to use the 3-in-1, because obviously that's not doing that. Well, touch wood, it's not done that yet. Famous last words, because as I'm saying it, I can kind of see those sort of marks appearing, but hopefully they will just dry out and not really show. Okay, so, and we can pop some doily down there to the side, and again, that just really pulls all of that together. So I'm just going to pop some doily down there. You know, I really haven't thought about how that's going. It's just literally stuck on there, you know, in the first way it landed, really. Okay. So, and then we're going to pop this down here. So we will stick this, I think we'll have this as like a little tuck spot. And again, I'm just going to use the 3-in-1. Oops. Like that. Okay, I'm just going to wipe any excess glue off. It's just kind of oozing out there at the side of it. And then again here, if any is oozing out here. Okay. So our first piece from our mass makes is now in the journal. I mean, as I say, I have used a couple of pieces myself, but you know, for this little project that we're doing, we're now on our way. We've used our first piece. So just going to ink up this, which is just that other little scrap of that yellow paper, which, you know, we might or might not use this, but let's just have a look and see, you know, do we want that there, for instance? And then, so So let's just stick that down. Put that on. Like that. And then what we could do is, let me see if I have any yellowy coloured flowers. Excuse that rustling, that's my rubbish carrier bag that's beside me. Just going to have a look through. These are like my ready fussy cut flowers from my flower kit. So I'm just going to have a look through and see whether I've got any that would go quite nicely colour wise and size wise. So, you know, because it's not just colour, is it? But it's got to obviously fit on your piece. So obviously there's a whole variety in here. And what's quite nice, they're already cut out. And again, I did have these in a like CD case, but since I'm trying to get on top of my storage, I've popped them into one of these. This says it's Calypso tin. It was some Prima flowers, but they're just brilliant tins because they're actually really quite roomy. So, you know, they hold quite a bit of stuff. Right, so I quite like that because obviously it is, you know, basically yellow tones, and so it will tone nicely with the theme of this piece. So there we go. I mean, obviously you don't have to do that. I'm just literally doing it so that, you know, just makes it a little bit more pleasing to the eye really. But so there we go. Let's just pop that on there. So obviously we can pop a journaling card in here. We can pop something in at the top, and we can obviously pop something behind. So that's looking good now. And then I've got that bow as well, which I think I'm going to pop there. I mean, we could kind of have it off to the side or something, but I'm just going to look in my cupboard to the side of me where I've got some of my hand stitched ruffles, because I did quite like the idea of a ruffle. My hand stitched ones, I tend to use just these really gorgeous bright fabrics. I don't know why that is, but I've only ever made these hand stitched ones in sort of bright cheery fabrics. Now, I don't know. I really have no idea why that would be. But for some reason, those hand stitched ones just seem to, in my mind, lend themselves to bright fabric rather than sort of vintagey style fabric, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to put those out the way now. But the chances are, I think we'll probably use some more of those because I do really like marrying those bright colours up with these cute animal images. Right, so let's just glue our bow down on the bottom. Like that. I've just left it overhanging because for me this is, you know, how I find the easiest way to then trim it off. I mean, I have seen other people where they cut it to size and then glue it on. Personally, I would definitely muck that up. I would end up cutting it too short in the first place and then it would never fit on. So for me, that just, you know, that just is not going to be a working solution. And I've just spotted this postage stamp just at the side of my desk, which I know that's a little bit random, but I just thought, oh, colour-wise, that's quite nice. So might just have to pop that on there as well, I think. So just going to place that down. Now, do we want the postage stamp like here on our booklet or poking out from behind? I think we'll have it poking out from behind because it just added, you know, adds a little bit something more to the page. So, and I mean, you know, that was just laying about on my desk. It was just caught my eye and I just thought, oh, that's going to be really good there because it's just perfect colour. So, right, I'm going to put my ruffle on here and I'm going to just do it, not at a curve exactly, but not going straight, if that makes sense. So Let me just glue that down. Okay. Hopefully I've got all those corners, because this fabric's quite curling, if that makes sense. So there we go. Okay. Cute first page. What does everyone think? So let me just check it's in frame and everything else. So it's cute, isn't it? And I've got those paper clips that Laura gifted me. I have emptied most of them into my tub because, again, I'm trying to be organised. These are just the ones that wouldn't fit into the tub, so we could just clip that just closed like that. That just holds that closed. I mean, I think that looks really, really sweet. Right, so that's that first one. Now, I have talked about this before. I don't necessarily do my journals in order. I just go whichever, you know, page sort of takes my fancy at the time. So we'll just kind of have a flick through. Oh, who knows? Perhaps we'll do this. Perhaps we'll do this double page here. So again, I'm going to just pull my Mass Makes box in, and then what I'm going to do is obviously keep my little animal images just in sight, basically, so that if anything, you know, takes my fancy, I can kind of see these and then know what colours I'm looking at. So, I mean, we could have some little cute dogs, to be honest. Or I did rather like that horse now. I mean, to be honest, all of these images are just so absolutely gorgeous. Oh, what should I go for? The donkey's really nice. The dormouse. Oh, let's go for the dormouse. So if I just tear him off. So you see, you know, I've kind of done a U-turn. I was going to pick my embellishment piece first, but I've now picked my animal first. Because this is going to be a double page spread, I want to find something that's going to look pretty nice with the dormouse. Oh, definitely not the cat. I don't think that would be very nice to you. Conjures up just images of that dormouse maybe not being there too long. Right, let's have a look. I mean, for me, I just go for, you know, what colours really look good, rather than necessarily what animals go together. I mean, unless we're talking about the cat and the mouse, which I just thought seemed unfortunate for that mouse, you know. Right, just tear that horse round. Because I just think colour-wise, they go really nicely. So now I'm just going to have, again, a bit of a flick through my little mass making, you know, pieces. Now, I'd pulled this one out earlier before I even turned the camera on. So what we could do is have one on there, and then what would we like to have opposite that? Let's have a look. I mean, to be honest, opposite that, we might want to have something quite flat and quite unobtrusive, because obviously that is, you know, quite a big embellishment. So I'm just having a quick look through, or, you know, we could just paper clip something in. So perhaps we could just do something like one of these and just clip that in. So if I just pop this to one side, I mean, because this is how obviously your journals end up massively thick, which, not that I mind that, I love a chunky journal, but it's just something to bear in mind, I guess. So for me, these are the little envelope booklets that we've made. Obviously I did mine with string. Again, you may or may not have done that with yours, but I'm just going to demonstrate how this would be. So if I just tie that up, and I have talked about this before, but what I like to do when I'm using things like this is have my, I never know how to describe this, but the flatter page, i.e. not the page that's got the curve, if that makes sense, the one that lays flat, have my piece stuck onto the flat. I don't have it stuck on this side. Does that make sense? Because if you look then, if I stick that on the curvy side, it doesn't want to stick down. So I always try and put them, you know, on the flat. So it could go here, or obviously you could kind of go to the other half of the signature and you would then have it like that. So again, you just turn it around and have it stuck on the flat rather than the curve. I hope that makes sense. It's very hard to describe these things sometimes. There's probably proper, you know, official terms for these types of things, but I just don't know what they are. And then we've got this piece here, which was one of those little folding booklets, which we could just paperclip that on. So then you've got your two pieces, but one can be taken out straight away. So straight away your bulk is less, if that makes sense, which is, you know, quite a good way of controlling the size of your journal. Right. So again, obviously these are undecorated. You know, I did that intentionally because I was hoping that, you know, I would be able to then decorate up as per what I fancied at the time. So touch wood, so far so good, and you know, that's working out quite handy. Now I'm just again going through little scraps and rubbish and, you know, things that are floating about on my desk, seeing what I've got here that might look nice. And again, for me, you know, because this is this cutesy, fun, animal style journal, I feel like I can get away with using fun, colourful, you know, really quite pretty papers. Again, you know, that's just my leaning. You know, that might not be everybody's leaning. Well, I mean, obviously you might not be doing anything remotely like this. You know, you might be using your mass makes in a completely different way. But, you know, I'm just kind of just describing basically how my thought process is going. Right. So I just happened to spot that gingham. I mean, I love gingham, don't you? It's just really nice. So I'm just going to tear that down to better, you know, make it a better size and shape for that envelope piece. And then, oops, I'll just pop that there. Then we could have obviously the mouse, you know, somewhere off to the side or something. Just hold that down. I hope this is not causing a shadow. I was mortified just now when I stood up and saw how shadowed it was. Yeah. So that's quite nice. What I might do is put some book page or something like that around the edge of that, because obviously it's not taking up that much room. So let me just grab in a book. Hold on. She says, and now I can't see a book. Hold on. Oh, isn't that typical? I can't really see a book. Hold on. I had been really organised and got a couple of books ready beside me. And of course, now I've used them, no longer there. Right, okay. Let's use this one. I'll have to put this one back there in a moment after the video. So if I just, now we've got none of that book, the book page showing at all. Let me undo this string. I don't know why I keep on just slotting it under there instead of just undoing it and making life easier for myself. So that's quite nice, isn't it? So what I might do is just tear this down. Keep thinking I'm going to buy one of those tear rulers because you know, maybe that would be better. I mean, I say that I probably will fail miserably at using it because it's one of those types of things that maybe I won't really get on with very well. Stranger things have happened, you know, So I'm just going to glue this down. Okay. Okay, must keep an eye on the time as well, because I mean, I said, oh, maybe we'll only have 1 or 2 videos for this, but my gosh, let's have a look at the time. Oh, I can't even see it now, because my jar that sort of holds the iPad down is actually stood over the timer. I think if I'm sort of right, peering and, you know, right underneath it, I think we're up to about 40 minutes. And we've done 1 page so far. So, my gosh, looks like it's going to be a really lengthy series after all. So, I again apologise for that. There we go. That's the problem with crafting. It does take a long time, doesn't it? I mean, you can't just quickly, you know, knock something out. So there we go. Okie dokie. Pop that like that. Just press that down with my wipe. Do we want that like that, or do we want to layer this up even further on there? Because I mean, we could sort of have him, I mean, look at that paper, that's wicked to cover that pretty paper up, isn't it? Yeah, I can't quite bring myself to do that. That's going to be another one of those sheets of paper that just is constantly not being used, because I can't actually bring myself to use it, which, oh, ridiculous. Just ridiculous. I don't know what that is about. Now, do we like that there or colourless? I think he needs something to make him pop a little bit, to be honest. So this is just some of that paper bag that I printed, which again, depending on the upload order, that video may or may not have gone up. I don't know quite what's going on with my my upload orders, but I think what's happening, I seem to have multiple things on the go now, not just multiple projects now, but multiple video series and things like that. So you know, they're gradually now spilling over, and you know, when I'm filming something, I don't now know which order they're going to be in. So yeah, what started out as trying to be really organised and efficient maybe is not quite so much now. Right, so I'm going to just pop that on there, because again, I could be here all day kind of moving him around and around, and just faffing about constantly with this. I've just got this funny, strange feeling now. Did we ever glue that flower onto that front piece? I can't remember now. I have to go back to that in a minute. Right, so I'm just going to now move this out to the side slightly, just so that I can ink this up. So, oops, just ink that around. Okay. Oh, it's such a cute mouse, isn't it? I do just love these images, I have to say. Just beautiful. And they're just such a great size for our journals. They're, you know, just really great. Right, so I'm just going to tie this like that. Okay. This one we're going to have here, but we're going to clip that on. Now, I'm just wondering whether I want to have a ruffle or anything. So I'm going to have to go and pull my ruffle jar over. So hold on 2 moments. I'll just pull that in. Now, I've actually got 2 ruffle jars, but one seems to be, you know, brighter ruffles than the other. So I'm going to go for my brighter ones. I just spotted this green. That's quite nice as well. So I just wondered whether we might like to use the green there. So hold on. Oh. Let's put that out the way a bit. Now, do we like the green? Because the green will obviously tie it in with the green here. Or do we go for the blue, like on this side, which would tie in the blue here? Decisions, decisions. I think what we do, we go for the green down the edge. If there's room, I mean, I have used ruffles before when I've got these envelopes. I don't know why suddenly there wouldn't be room on this page, but it looks a bit tight for some reason. Let's glue this down first and then we can decide. So I'm just going to glue this onto the page like that. And I try and kind of go over the glue as well so it's, you know, really nice and fixed down properly. Oops. Let's pop that down like that. Just press that down for a couple of minutes. Oops. Right, so just move my jar to just double check. So yeah, 46 minutes we're up to. So I will just, you know, finish this part and then we'll probably come on and do another for this side. Right, let's have a look. So if I were to just have this ruffle down here. Okay. Hey, gorgeous. Daddy still fixing the fence? Is Daddy still fixing the fence?
I don't know, he's just out there.
He's obviously still fixing the fence.
They're super cute.
We had some terrible, terrible winds and unfortunately some of our fence panels blew down, which was just a bit of a shame because we actually only had our fence, you know, new fence put up, I think last year. But anyway, it was very, very strong winds the other day. And so I think it was only one fence panel has actually come down now, but still it's pretty annoying to have to now go and put it back up because obviously once they've come down once, they're just never really going to be quite right again, are they? So they're not going to be quite right again, but never mind. Right, I'm going to put that ruffle there, just kind of to the side. So again, I'll just attach that with my Fabri-Tac. So what I'll do is I will actually open this. Whoa, flicking things all off my desk now. And I'll just kind of glue it in 2 stages. So I'll just glue this end first. Like that. Okay, and then we'll just do this one here. Are you getting your craft box out, darling?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. I quite like the ruffles at a little curve like that. And obviously, because then that just looks really pretty poking out behind the envelope. So just going to tie that up. And I just would like to pop a flower somewhere on here if I can. So just do that up. I'll just have a look and see what flowers I've got laying around. So these are all quite pink, which isn't quite right. Got a brown one here, which might be okay. I would have liked a sort of bluey one or a greeny one really, but let me just have a look and see what else I've got. Just look through my tub. Sorry about my arm going across the camera again. It's always so important to find the right thing, isn't it, that you're looking for. So, come on. Oh, I don't know now. I've got this, but this is perhaps a little bit big. I mean, it's quite nice colour-wise, but it's also quite vintage looking. I would prefer a more fun, I don't know, fun sort of paper type flower. Let me just have a look in my little tub here. Well, not tub really, but I've got some more here. I've got these kind of green ones. What do you think to those? Again, it's just not quite the right colour. I'll keep it out because it might, you know, it might go with something else even if I don't use it here. I've also got some with brown spots, which are pretty sweet, aren't they? And I've got these whiter ones. They're too big. Let me just have a look behind me, guys. It won't be 2 moments. I'm just having a look to see if I've got anything else that I can just pull in. Right, this is from my cake stand that's just behind me. Got these, oh gosh, they're totally the wrong colour blues. Hold on 2 moments because there was more on the bottom. Okay, how's that one? Oh, again, it's not the right colour. Hold on a minute, because I did just see one more. I bet that's not the right colour either. It might be the same. Oh, that is a bit better actually. Right, let's just have a look. So these are my little mulberry paper flowers, which I've talked about before. I'm just going to pull it apart because, you know, I do use these puffy, in their puffy form in mini albums, but not really in junk journals. So I'm just going to pull this apart. Oh, come on. Like that. Okay. Oh, that's cute, isn't it? So I'm just going to ink this up a little bit so it's not quite so bright. Like that. Oh, that's sweet, isn't it? So I'm just going to pop that there. Might not even have a centre for this one. I don't think it necessarily needs one. Just like that. So really, really cute, isn't it? And then obviously we're going to have this one here on the facing page, but we will obviously have to do that another day because, yeah, we're up to like 53 minutes now. I just want to go back to that first page. Yeah, I had this funny feeling that I didn't glue that flower on, and now I don't know what's happened to the flower. Is that the flower that we were going to pop on there? I think it must have been. Let's just have that there. Let's just glue that on. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're on our way making our journal using our mass making projects. So hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you'll all join me again for the next one. Thanks very much. Bye.